All praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect to the nation of Israel, who are the people that have been selected by Yahweh from the nation of Israel to receive salvation in the last days, right? And are going to be the beginning of the new kingdom of Israelites that is going to be established on the earth, right? Also known as the house of David, man. And this is going to be a video on the mark. No, not the mark of the beast, Salakia. It's going to be a video on Babylon the Great, and I might mention the mark of the beast, the Karagma, in this video, right? The MOTB, right? And who knows now that I've actually said those words, that whether this video is going to be able to get put out there, because the way how you have to speak now in order to actually even get your point across, you have to talk in code, man. And there's been times in the past where I've said those words that I just said, those 4 words there, in consecutive order, and the video has been taken down. But anyway, this is going to be a lesson on Babylon the Great. And a question that I heard somebody ask, where it was a scoffer. They said, what happens then? They never directed it personally at me, but I heard this scoffing question. And the question was, what if, like, for all the people that saying America is Babylon the Great, what if America gets destroyed then, and then the Messiah hasn't returned then? What would that mean? And to answer that question, that would mean then obviously that America was not Babylon the Great, right? Like, if America gets destroyed, or if the Messiah returns and it has not led to the destruction of America, if Yahweh Shai comes back before America gets destroyed, or if America does not even get destroyed at all and Yahweh Shai comes back, or if America gets destroyed and Yahweh Shai has not come back yet, well, then that would mean that America was not Babylon the Great, right? But America is Babylon the Great, and we're going to keep saying that, and it doesn't matter how uncomfortable it makes people out there. America is Babylon the Great, and we're going to keep saying it. It's going to keep getting said over and over again until the proof that it is that is shown. Right now, it's a bit more, when you read the prophecy, it takes a bit more skill to go into it, to actually prove that, or to actually go into the reasons why we say that America is Babylon the Great. And I'm going to try and do it in this lesson. So this is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 2, which says, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird." And what that's going into is how the end result of what's going to happen to America is going to result in it being it's going to result in it being a place that only dumb type of animals can live. And I'm going to show some scriptures that go into the judgment that America is going to receive. Other scriptures. This is Revelation chapter 14 and verse 12. "And this shall be the plague with Yahweh will smite all the people that fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth." And that judgment specifically is going to definitely be aimed at America, which is Babylon the Great, right? And that's what's going to cause for America, which is Babylon the Great, to become that habitation of every unclean bird and all the different animals, right? Now, let me go to Jeremiah 49, because I mentioned this a couple of days ago in another lesson, that the same judgment that it gives for Babylon the Great is also a judgment that's connected to the nation of Edom, because the nation of Edom runs Babylon the Great. And that's how it makes easy to understand that Babylon the Great is run by America, because the Edomites will be ruling in the last days. And what is the country, or what is the superpower nation on the earth that is running the show? It's clearly America. And who runs America? Is it not the Edomites? This is Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 17. Also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof, as in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the neighbor cities thereof, saith Yahweh. No man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. And that's talking about America when this is he's talking about in regards to this judgment, because Babylon the Great is going to receive a judgment similar to what Sodom and Gomorrah received, which was to get destroyed by fire, was it not? When you read the scriptures. Let me jump down to verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Edom, and his purposes that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman, which is another tribe among Esau. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And that's going into the least of the flock among Edom would be Amalek, as in the least in terms of population, right? They're one of the, even though they're the head tribe, they're one of the smallest tribes, right? They've got a lower population among what they even say among themselves. They say that there's I think they say that there's 11 million of them all around the world in general, right? That would be considered so-called small hatters. So they're one of the smallest tribes of that nation, but they run in the show, and they're what they say pretty much goes. What they want to happen goes, man. And that's why they're going to lead all the rest of the tribes of Esau into war with the rest of the world, man, because they've got an agenda that they want to push, and they ain't backing down from that, right? And they're going to lead everybody else into war because they're the top. And then there's even more to it than that when you start thinking about that in a spiritual level, because they're the nation that decided to claim that they were Israelites. They're the nation of Esau that decided to claim that. So they, at any point, if all the rest of the nations of Esau decide we're not going to do what you say anymore, they can just reveal the truth, which would cause a lot of destruction among their nation, man. But that's a heavy lie that the tribe of Amalek is holding, right? That if they admit the truth, this whole world crumbles. This whole world will crumble just from that truth being revealed, that they are not who they say they are. But let me carry on. Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Edom, and his purpose is that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And that's what's going to happen, man. All these actions that they're doing are going to result in America being destroyed, are going to result in Gog and Magog, which is run by the Russian Edomites. They're going to get taken down by the Israelites too. Yahweh Shai is going, when he comes back, he's going to end up taking down all of you nations, right? All this battle that you've got between each other is going to result in your main superpower nation, which is America, falling. Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And the reason why it's going to happen is because everyone's going to realize that America is the problem. And I said earlier that the small hatters are the ones that are running the show, and they are. But the reason why they can do the things that they do is because they have America backing them, right? America is the one that allows them to do the things that they do. Without America being in the background, invisibly aiding all of their actions, they would not be able to do the things that they do. They wouldn't be able to get away with the things that they get away with without America helping them, right? And that's the proof that America is Babylon the Great. Now, when you go to this scripture here, Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7, it says, Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are maddened. Which nation in this earth runs the show, man? Which nation? Like, when you even think about how all these people now are getting ready, like you've just had the changeover now from Halloween, and if you're anywhere in the city centers now, you'll see that they've replaced all the Halloween decorations with the with Christmas ones. So what's happened now? Esau's tried to turn up the spirit of that kind of time. So when it comes to like the last 3 months of their so-called calendar, October, November, and December, it goes straight from a transition pretty much from the beginning of October of Halloween decorations, right, directly into Christmas decorations, and then it adds in maybe a week after that in January, where you have the whole New Year's Eve, New Year's Day thing. So the last 3 months of the year now of Esau's so-called calendar anyway are all related to these spiritual things that they've set up. It goes Halloween, which would be October, then it would go November, which would be Christmas things, December, which would be Christmas things, and then it kind of transitions from December into New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then the kind of New Year's resolution week thing that people start running around telling everyone, oh, what's your New Year's resolution going to be? What's my New Year's resolution? I'm going to join Pure Gym, and then whatever they want to talk about, or I'm going to stop eating as much candy bars, whatever, then they have their thing that they're going to do, man. Right, but where does that all stem from? The whole Halloween thing. Where's the Halloween thing the most popular? And the whole trick or treat thing. Where'd that come from? Is that not something that comes from the spirit of America? The whole Christmas thing. I remember you had all the Home Alone movies, the whole Home Alone movie series, all the major Christmas movies. That's things that stem from America. You'd have the big Christmas tree, the big large Christmas tree that's like a couple of stories high in New York City. That's an American spirit. That's a thing that's being pushed from America, which the spirit of the tree thing ultimately goes back to Babylon you can read about it in Jeremiah 10. But America, which is Babylon the Great, has birthed that spirit now, and now they're the ones that are pushing out those old things from Babylon, ancient Babylon. They're the ones that are now doing it. Now that I just said that, it reminds me of this scripture, and this is for people that might have not heard this stuff before. But now that I just said that, I think I went into the wrong one. Psalm 137, and it connects Edom with the daughter of Babylon. So it's saying that Edom is the daughter of Babylon, meaning that Esau and Babylon are connected. And how are they connected? Because now Esau has took on the spirit of Babylon, making them the daughter of Babylon, but they've got more power because they've got the power of the ancient witchcraft, what they was doing in Babylon, but they've also got the blessing of the sword, right? And they've been selected by Yahweh to be the ruler in the end time. So now they're even stronger than the old Babylon. They're Babylon the Great, man. Right? That's what it is. Psalm 137 and verse 7, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it even to the foundation of thereof, because Esau was there in old Babylon as well. When you read about the prophecy of Jeremiah, how he was told, make yokes of iron and give it to all of these nations and tell them Nebuchadnezzar is going to rule, and you either bow down. If you bow down to that, he's going to be ruling. Your nations will be at peace, right? But if you don't do that, then your nations are going to be destroyed. They all bowed, but the Israelites, the kings of Israel, were rebellious to that, many of them, right? So then they ended up getting taken down and got destroyed. But while they were getting destroyed because all the other nations bowed, them other nations became affiliates with ancient Babylon, right? And Edom would have been one of the affiliates. The Edomites would have been one of the affiliates, man. And when they were there, they was jealous of Israelites anyway, because of us having a blessing before them, and they took part in us falling. And you can read about that in the Apocrypha, in the first book of Esdras. I believe it's in the 3rd and 4th chapter. And in fact, you know what? Since I've mentioned it, let me see if I can quickly. I've had it highlighted so I don't have to search for it too much. Maybe it's the 3rd chapter. Maybe not. Salakia. Let me see if I can quickly search Edom. Okay, this is 1st Ezra chapter 4 and verse 45. That was also vowed to build up the temple which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees. So Esau was there, and part of the reason how they was made to be there was all in the spirit anyway. But they were there, and when let me see if I can show what I was mentioning here with the prophecy that Jeremiah was told. With the thing that Jeremiah was told to do, where he was told to tell all these nations. There, here we go. This is Jeremiah chapter 27 and verse 2. Thus saith Yahweh to me, make thee bonds and yokes and put them upon thy neck and send them to the king of Edom and to the king of Moab, and to the king of the Ammonites, and to the king of Tyrus, and to the king of Zidon, by the hand of messengers which come to Jerusalem unto Zedekiah king of Judah, and command them to say unto their masters, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, thus shall ye say unto your masters, I have made the earth, the man, and the beast that are upon the ground, by my great power, and by my outstretched arm, and have given it into the whom it seemeth unto me. And now I have given all these lands into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and the beasts of the field have I given him also to serve him, and all nations shall serve him. So Yahweh made Jeremiah be used to let all these other nations know that Nebuchadnezzar has been chosen to rule for this time period right now, and all you nations better bow down, right? Until the very time of his land come, and then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. So he was going to rule, but then he was also going to get taken down himself, which happened, but it didn't happen in no crazy dramatic way to where people can try and attribute all the destruction that he mentions of Babylon the Great getting destroyed and turned into Sodom and Gomorrah can be attributed to this time, because they never fell like that. Verse 7 again, all nations shall serve him and his son and his son's sons until the very time of his land come, and then many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of him. And it shall come to pass that the nation and kingdom that will not serve the same Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon, and that will not put their neck under the yoke of the king of Babylon, that nation will I punish, saith Yahweh, with the sword and with famine and with the pestilence, until I have consumed them by his hand. And that ended up ultimately really happening to the Israelites. We ended up getting put under a siege. And I believe that the scriptures say that the siege lasted like maybe, around a year and a half. It lasted around a year and a half, and all the other nations that it mentioned, they listened, and that's why they was there. And is not the first one that it mentions Edom? And they were there, man. And that's how they was able to be saying, raise it, even to the foundation thereof, because they was already close in location to the Israelites anyway. They was already close in location to Judea, because the land of Edom's to the south of of Israel anyway. Now let me carry on. 1 second, Salakia. Excuse me. And all the whole story and the things that was taking place among the Israelites during that siege can be read in the book of Lamentations, by the way. And let me go back to this. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. The whole Christmas thing, like I was saying earlier, that comes ultimately from America. The way how people decide to celebrate Christmas, that comes from America. The reason why people over here in the UK are on that Halloween thing, going to people's houses talking about trick or treat, even the outfits that people wear. You had some of these women in the UK dressing up like American cheerleaders and all this kind of stuff. Like, that comes from America. The costume choices, that's all American things. That's all things that come from America. The whole trick or treat thing, that's an American thing. Because Babylon the Great is the golden cup in Yahweh's hand. All the fashions, all the labels and the clothing labels, most of it is coming from America. Or most of the clothing labels that might be from another country, they become popular by them being sold in America. And then the most popular versions of certain designers that are outside of Babylon the Great, which is America, the most popular versions of their clothes, right, are sold in America. So you might have a clothing label that's actually from another country, right? But in America, they've got versions of that clothing brand that are not sold in the land that it's actually from. You see, there'll be a brand of clothes, there'll be a type of thing that is actually sold more in America. And I'm not saying that this particular point I'm about to use now is not, because I'm not too sure of where the company Snickers and Mars and all that stuff's from, but like when it comes to cereal and all these different kind of foods and snacks and stuff like that, in America, there'll be several different flavors, whereas in the UK or in other places in the world, there won't be nowhere near as many flavors. But in America, there'll be several. In America, there'll be big 1 liter drinks when they go into the cinema and all these kind of things. They say that their McDonald's is bigger and all this stuff. And then when they come over to the UK, they complain, oh, it's smaller over here. It tastes too healthy. It's just different in America. And I've never been to America personally, but you hear the stories and there's more than enough information out there on the internet to see the difference, right? Or if you've ever know someone that's been there, you know that it's different. And everybody knows that if you was to try and if you had any kind of financial making thing that somebody was trying to do, that the most popular version, the main way to become successful in this world is to have a industry that becomes successful in America. And I was just watching a video of Apostle Tahar before I decided to, from some of the things that he was saying, it made me want to start talking about this. But one of the points he was making in his video was about a new company called BYD, which is an electric car company, and how they've got like a fancy new car, which the car is quite impressive. The Chinese have made a new car, the Yang Wang U9, I think it was called. I think he said it was called, and they're trying to get them to be sold in America because they know that that would be a big money move for their company, because the Americans love them dainty things. They love them dainty things, man. When a musician in the UK is trying to become popular as they can be, no matter what city they're from in the UK, it will go like this. They found out that they've got talent, and then now they're gonna have to go to London and become popular among the Londoners, right? And then if they manage to become popular among Londoners and then have the respect of everywhere else from the UK as well, because now it's been shown that they're popular in London, now the next move is going to be normally that they have to go to New York. And then if they can become popular in New York, well, then it might be okay. But how about, can you handle LA though? Can you make it be popular? Can you make yourself be popular in LA as well? Can you be popular in New York? Can you be popular in London? Okay, you're from the UK. Can you be popular from the city? You're popular in the city you're from. But can you now be popular in London? Okay, you're popular in London, but can you now be popular in New York? Okay, you're popular in New York, but now can you handle Hollywood? Okay, you've made it in Hollywood. Now you're ready to be just a worldwide star everywhere. Now everyone's gonna know you. So then now you're gonna even be known among people in the continent of Asia. And now even the Chinese are gonna know you now, because now you're known among America. America's made you be the star. You was famous when you was famous from your city. You was okay when you was famous in London, right? You was kind of cool when you was famous in New York, but you became a real star when you became on that Hollywood level, and then was pushed out all around the world. That's how it works. Everyone knows this. You're not really considered that famous if people in America don't know you. But if people in America know you, then people everywhere else in the world more than likely are going to know you. Anyone that knows about, like, when you consider Mike Tyson, right? If Mike Tyson was from somewhere in the UK, right, he wouldn't be nowhere near as famous, even with the same talent, if he wasn't born in America. But him being born in America is the reason why, because Babylon's the Golden Cup. It's the reason why he's that famous, and that's why there's videos out there on the internet of him in Japan, and everyone knows his name. And people like, who don't know Mike Tyson really? Even some of the people that they might not know him for being the youngest heavyweight champion of all times, they'll still know him. Maybe they'll, oh, that's the guy that's fighting Jake Paul, the old man that's fighting Jake Paul, the crazy guy with the tattoo. Oh, that's the guy from Hangover. They'll know his face. They know him. People know Michael Jackson. You know, people just know the people that become famous in America because that place has got a certain prestige. And that's why among the 2/3 of Israel, right, the 2/3 in America are the most arrogant ones, because they've got that, oh, I'm an American prestige on themselves. Oh, I'm an American. You know what I mean? Oh, you can't tell them, you can't say anything. I'm American. I'm from la-di-da-da, whatever place. That's how it is. America's got the prestige on it, man. That's why all around, when you consider all the talk, what people talk about trying to become famous and all this stuff, it's an American dream. They ain't no Scotland dream. Oh, I'm trying to get the Scotland dream. They ain't no, oh, I'm trying to get the Yorkshire dream. They ain't even no London dream. They ain't no, oh, I'm trying to get the London dream, and people are coming all the way from all over the world and trying to get the Londoners dream. That's not real. That's not a thing. They ain't nobody trying to get the Spanish dream. They ain't nobody trying to get the Dubai dream. They ain't trying to get the Le Francais dream. You know what I mean? That's not a thing. They're not trying to get the Germany dream, the Italian dream. That's not a thing. There's only people trying to move all from all different places in the world to get the American dream. That's how it's always been. People trying to get the American dream because America has been a golden cup that Yahweh's made. Let me read the prophecy again. Babylon have been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. Yahweh's selected America to be the place that he's going to allow Esau to corrupt the world with. He allowed Esau to have America to corrupt the world. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto the heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. And does it not say that in does that thing that I just thought about that what I just read there, right? Does that not sound similar to this? Does that not sound similar to this right here? Excuse me. Revelation chapter 18 and verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and Yahweh have remembered her iniquities. Is that not the same kind of talking point? The sins have reached so high because America's did a lot. America's legalized all kind of things that are wicked, and then at the same time tried to pretend like they're about the Bible, and no one's called them out for their hypocrisy. America's threatened. America's gone over all around the world, destroying people. And whenever you question them and say anything to them, their first thing will be, where's better? Okay, you're complaining about America doing this and that. Where's better? Where's better though? Where this is the most free place, Lord. And even Israelites say it. Israelites will complain about the Atlantic slave trade and stuff like that. And I'm not, when I say Israelites, I'm not about the people that we believe they're Israelites, but they don't believe that they are so-called black people, Latinos, Native Americans, right? They'll complain about slavery and stuff like that, but at the same time, they'll be happy that they're American. They have a weird love and hate relationship with that land because they understand that technically that life is the most luxurious over there, but at the same time, they understand that it's wicked. So they're trapped spiritually in their mind, and that's why the scriptures say, come out of her, my people, that you receive not of her place, because if you live in that place, and even if you don't live in there, and your mind's of that kind of mindset of being a person that loves that place, judgment's going to fall upon you. Because you're spiritually an Egyptian, you're spiritually of Sodom, you're spiritually a Babylonian. And you're going to receive the reward of being like that, which is destruction. That's what the end result will be. Let me carry on reading. Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. People become rich, like I've already mentioned it anyway, but people become rich if you can get popular in America. You are rich. If a person has a clothing brand and they are like, you know what, I've got these trainers, and then people are like, okay, I'm feeling them, and they might be from Manchester, let's say, and they maybe sell 20,000 pairs a year in Manchester, but then like, okay, now some Londoners start buying them, but then now some Londoners, a person that's came from New York sees somebody in them in London, and they're like, oh, what are those? Or these are the new divider trainers or whatever the hell they'd be called. And then now they buy a pair and go to America, and someone's like, man, I want those. We need to get those over here. And now they become popular in America. Now they'll be popular everywhere. They'll be popular everywhere now. And now that person's waxed rich through the abundance of the Americans' delicacies, because Americans have got the most money. The most money is flowing in and out of that place. America as a country in itself has got every single type of environment that you could hope to see. Every single type of weather, it's got it there. You don't even, like, that's why most Americans, from what you hear, they don't even have passports, most of them, because every single place that you could possibly want to, every single type of weather you could ever want to experience is in there. If you, oh, you want snow, they've got a place that it snows lots. Or you want hot, they've got that. Or you want to eat this type of food, they've got someone there that's got that. Or you want to only speak this language, they've got every language there. Everything that can possibly exist on the earth, you can experience it from going to the land of America, because that is the golden cup in Yahweh's hand that's made all the earth drunken. Every single nation has been brought there, either a large population or a small. And every single tribe of the Israelites is there too, which is why it's called spiritual Egypt, because it contains all the tribes. And that is the place in the scriptures where it mentions that Judah and Israel were oppressed together. It's talking about America, because it's not talking about Assyria, and it's not talking about the Assyrian captivity, and it's not talking about the Babylonian captivity, the ancient one, because when you read about it, they were not there. All the tribe was not among each of those. They were split in that time. But in America, they were not split. They were made back together to face the pain all together, whether they knew that they was all the same nation at that point or not. Excuse me. Let's go. Let me read verse 6. Reward her even as she have rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. In the cup which she have filled, fill to her double. How much she have glorified herself and lived deliciously. You're telling me that ain't happening in America? You're telling me that ain't? And like I said at the beginning of this lesson, if America does not get destroyed, or the Messiah, Yahweh Shai, returns before America is destroyed, then that would mean that America is not Babylon the Great. But when America gets destroyed by ICBMs, we believe as Israelites that is going to cause for the coming of Yahweh Shai, the Messiah. That is going to be the catalyst that causes for Yahweh Shai to return. And let me get a prophecy on that. This is 2 Ezra chapter 13 and verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Now, when you read about that, one shall fight against another, that's just any individual against another individual. Then you hear one city against another, so that would be more so civil war, right? Then when you hear one place against another, right, that's going into more world wars or state wars, nation wars, city wars again, which is kind of civil war too. But then when you hear about one realm against another, that's going into world war, right? One whole nation of people against another one, world war. Every single type of violent interaction that you can think about is going to be taking place on the earth before Yahweh Shai returns. And that's why Yahweh Shai made this statement here. Is it Luke 12 and 49? Luke chapter 12 and verse 49. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I, if it be already kindled? Yahweh Shai already knows, already knew and already knows that he was going to be returning again. And when he returned, the world was going to be at war. And he knew he's coming to bring fire on the earth. And what's he going to do then? How much fire is he going to bring if it's already going to be on fire when he shows up? How much more fire is he going to bring? Because it's already going to be on fire anyway. So the earth, here is, he's coming to bring fire on the earth, and the fire is already going to be kindled before he gets there. So how much more fire is he going to bring? Verse 32, and it shall be, and the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all people shall hear his voice, every man in their own land, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. So they're gonna see Yahweh Shai return, and at the point of that happening, America's gonna have already been destroyed, right? America's gonna get destroyed by ICBMs. They're gonna be already going through all the trauma of experiencing that, but that's gonna lead Yahweh Shai to come back. That's what we, but that's what, let me not even keep saying, that's what I believe from what I've been taught, right? And that's what Israelites believe that follow the doctrine that of the people that I believe, which is Great Millstone. And if I'm wrong on that, then somebody would surely say, but that's the belief. World War III is going to be the catalyst that causes for the Messiah to return because, right, World War III is going to lead in is going to result in the destruction of America, which is Babylon the Great. Now, let me get this. Excuse me. Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn it with fire, because they're going to burn it with fire, because they're going to realize, man, America is a problem. And so lucky, I need to just quickly do something, and I'm going to come back 1 second. I'm back now. A lot of the things that I just said there, right, they are based around America, and this lesson is about what would prove that America is not Babylon the Great, and that might be what I call the lesson. But let's say that another country getting destroyed leads to all these things happening. Well, then that would mean that that country was Babylon the Great, right? That would mean that. But one of the things, and I'm going to read the prophecy in a second, but one of the things that's going to prove which place it is Babylon the Great is that when this gets destroyed, other nations are going to be complaining because their financials have been highly affected by that place getting destroyed. Right now, let me read Revelation 17 and 16 again, and then I'm going to go into Revelation 18 and prove the point that I just made. Revelation chapter 17 and verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And the 10 horns is pretty much just going into the allies of the other, the initial 10 allied countries that began the whole NATO and EU, right? When you go into the original of how that was formed, it's, I believe, 10 different nations. I'm not sure of the exact nations off the top of my head, but when you look it up, you will see that it is 10 nations, right? And these are, to simplify it, you can just view, if you just view the 10 horns as the allies of America, right? They are going to destroy America because they are going to realize that America has been playing them for fools, right? And has been secretly having their own agenda in mind rather than the group, right? Verse 17, for God has put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of God shall be fulfilled. So Yahweh is the one that made them all be agreeable unto America, because like I read earlier, Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that he's used to make all the earth drunken. So when America puts out an idea, right, because it's ultimately backed by Yahweh on his left hand, the people are more swayed by what they say than anyone else, because they're not, the other nations are not a golden cup in Yahweh's hand, whereas Babylon the Great, which is America, is a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. Now, I was mentioning how 1 second, let me get my thoughts together, man. I was mentioning how the destruction of the place that is Babylon the Great is going to cause for nations to complain that they are not going to be making as much money no more when this place falls. So then you have to understand that Babylon the Great is going to be a place that has made people rich. So where is that place? Where is the place that you would be made the most rich from dealing with business? And I already gave examples of how America would be that place. And you've got people out there that they want to complain and say, oh, America is not Babylon, but they never say where it is. And you got to watch out for people like that. They're quick to tell you what you're saying ain't true, but they'll never say what they think, which it shouldn't be that difficult. Okay, you don't think America is Babylon the Great. Where is Babylon the Great in your opinion, right? Based on how you view the prophecies that we're reading here. What do you think Babylon the Great is? What's so hard about that? Okay, let's say somebody thinks Babylon the Great is in America and they think Babylon the Great's China. Okay, we explain it then. Just explain yourself. And then time's going to show who's telling the truth, right? This is Revelation chapter 18 and verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh who judgeth her. Now, let me go verse 7. How much hath she glorified herself and lived deliciously? So much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. And isn't that how America views itself? Or we ain't gonna go through none of that stuff. We're gonna just make it great again. We don't go through none of this stuff. America hasn't really had wars on its lands. It hasn't been touched like that. It hasn't been, right? But it's going to be, right? Which is what the next scripture says. Therefore shall a plague come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahweh who judgeth her. It's going to be burned with fire. America, which Babylon the Great, is going to be burned with fire. It's going to receive all the things that you can receive as judgment. It's going to receive all of it. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. Because even though it's going to be the kings of the earth, other kings of the earth that are going to cause it, when they actually see the destruction, they're going to be like, what? We never really considered that the things that we did to this place was going to look like this. You know what I mean? Every now and again when you watch these like movies where somebody might be in a gang or something like that, and they might do their first job where they end up having to take someone's life away, they're always squeamish. They're like, they might throw up after they've committed the unaliving or whatever, right? And they never really thought that seeing somebody bleeding out was going to look the way that they thought. Well, a lot of these weapons that are going to be used in World War III have not really been tested, have not been tested in real time for the real purpose, what they've been created for, because the real purpose that they were created for has been known as mutually assured destruction. So with some of these weapons, because they're so destructive, the only time to use them, there's not really too much of a way to test them. The main test would have been what happened to Japan, but that was not the weapons that they have now, though. So when people actually see what them weapons really do, they're going to stand afar off and they're going to be like, what the hell? They're going to be like, what? This really, like, they're going to really see that they've turned that land into something that's not recognizable. It's not going to be recognizable. All the things that was previously there are not going to be there no more forever. That's what's going to happen. That's what we believe is going to happen. Now, again, you've got people out there, Vocab Malones and all these kind of people, that they say, nah, it's not that. Why don't you just say what you think then? Okay, some people say it's the Vatican. Okay, so the Vatican's going to get destroyed with fire. And then that's going to have caused people to not be rich from it. Yeah, right. That's not true, is it? It clearly makes most sense that America's the golden cup in Yahweh's hand, and that America's the place that's made the most people rich, considering that's the main place on the earth that has imports. People bring a whole bunch of things to that country to make themselves rich from America, from selling things to the Americans. And that's why when America puts sanctions on you, it's going to affect your business. And if you try to put sanctions on America, telling them that you don't want to bring your goods to them, that's also going to affect your business. If you try and say, oh, I'm not going to sell you American things, you're cutting yourself short on the amount of money you can make, because they would have been your biggest customer. But if they say don't buy from them, and I'm not going to buy from them, then again, you've lost your biggest customer too. Because America's the buyer of this earth. They'll buy it. If you've got it, they'll buy it, man. And the scriptures in Revelation 18 go into it from verse 11 down to verse 14, which I might read. Verse 10. In fact, verse 9, and the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. And that's going into all of the adversaries, right? And all the allies. The adversaries of America, all the countries that would be in the BRICS nations and stuff like that, plus all the allies, which are also going to betray America, NATO and all of these countries, they're also gonna bewail and mourn. They were like, man, look at what's happened. They were like, look, we never really perceived that those weapons were going to be able to do all of this. And then of course it goes into the real reason why they're going to be mourning. Verse 10, standing afar off for fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, that great city, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. They're going to be mourning about that. So the allies are going to be mourning about man. That place really just got destroyed, man. You know what I mean? Like even if you just see like a house fire, that's traumatizing to the eyes. I remember in the UK where you had the Grenfell Tower thing, and that was causing grown men to cry. Right, from a tower flats that had maybe if we go extreme, had 1,000 people living in there. America's got 300 plus million people living there, and only 144,000 members and the elected of the nation of Israel are getting gathered out of there. The great multitude and the members of the 144,000 that are there, that's the only people that are getting taken out of that when the destruction comes, apart from any of those that might be of the elite level class and they've been able to set themselves bunkers up other places in the world where they're going to be taken and gathered from, right, and brought into captivity from the New Jerusalem, the new Israelites that are saved. But everyone else that doesn't have that ability and that salvation to bring to themselves, well, let me say it like this: all the people that are not going to get beamed up in the chariots of Yahweh, or not of a high enough elite level to move themselves out of the country of America and put themselves in bunkers, they're getting destroyed. If you've got a bunker in America, your bunker in America is not strong enough for the destructive power that Yahweh's prophesied is going to happen to that country. That whole country is going to be destroyed permanently forever by the things that take place. There's not going to be a crazy man in a canoe boat that survived. You know what I mean? There's not going to be that man in the canoe holding a cardboard sign saying, I'm the last one. That's not going to exist. There's not going to be no last one in America. Everyone that's not getting beamed up in them chariots and has not been able to get out of that country in some other way, they're going to be gone. There's not going to be no survivors of what Yahweh's prescribed to happen to that place. There's not going to be any. Now, this is big words to say, and that's why when it happens, it's going to prove the power of Yahweh. And if like this lesson's about, if America does not get destroyed, then that would prove that America is not Babylon the Great then. But when America getting destroyed causes for these things to be said about that place, then it's going to prove that it is Babylon the Great. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. Now, where is it in the earth that people would mourn that's not buying their merchandise? Would it not be America? The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones. Don't people be rocking all them chains and stuff like that? Isn't it America that's got all of that? And of pearls and fine linen. They got the garms, man. And purple and silk and scarlet and fayeen wood and all manners of vessels of ivory. When you look up houses in America, they look nicer than everywhere else. They just do. I do that sometimes. I look up like what the houses in America look like compared to other places in the world. The ones in America look the nicest, in my opinion. They've got the most luxurious stuff. They just have. And all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments. There's certain fragrances that you'll be able to get in America that you can't get anywhere else. There's not a fragrance that exists really that Americans, if they wanted it, can't get though. And if there's a person selling fragrances, right, they're going to want to bring that fragrance to America to get the customer base of America, which is Babylon the Great. And frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. That's going into the evil side of what gets brought into America, which is going into all the dodgy things that be going on in Hollywood and all of that, man. Sin cities and all this stuff, all the underground stuff that's going on in there, that's taking place in America too. That's one of the main places that wants people for that purpose in America, because the place is just demonic. Verse 14, and the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. America's not going to have that no more. And not only America, but Esau is not going to have that luxurious stuff anymore, because that place, that was their golden cup that Yahweh used Esau to make the world drunken. Yahweh is going to allow that place to be destroyed. And therefore, Esau's power to make the earth drunken is also going to be taken away from the earth. He's not going to get another golden cup to make the earth drunken, because the cup that Esau was making people drunk with was in Yahweh's hand. It wasn't in his whole own hand anyway. But in his arrogance, he thought it was of his own power, because he don't believe in God. He don't believe in the Most High. He believes in himself, and in any kind of spiritual things on the left hand side that he thinks he's got control over them, really, and forgets that Yahweh controls that. Yahweh, does it not say that Yahweh made Yahweh Shai, and that Yahweh Shai was used to make the invisible things, things that are seen and things that are not seen? Does it not say that in the scriptures? Verse 17, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. Where's the richest place on the earth? Is it not America? So why are you people so confused that America would be Babylon the Great? Why is it when somebody gives you a logical answer to something in the scriptures that you people always get bugged out? Why is it that you people will believe that the virgin birth is more likely than a non-virgin birth? A non-virgin birth is way more believable than a virgin one. But you Christians will fight so hard to believe that the virgin birth is more real than that Joseph was of the seed of and of the lineage of David and slept with Mary. And that's what made the Messiah be from the tribe of Judah, like Joseph was, and from the lineage of King David, like Joseph was. So you struggle to understand that. And then you'll struggle to understand that the MOTB is an actual physical thing that exists on the earth right now that can go in your hand or can go in your head and can be used to buy and sell. You'll struggle with that. And then you'll struggle to believe that Babylon the Great is an actual place that exists that you all know about, that clearly is a place that makes people money on the world the most and has the most influence on the earth. You'll struggle with that. You'll struggle with all that stuff. But then when it comes to the things that are simple to understand, you'll try and make them difficult. Is when it says seed of Israel in the Bible, that's talking about somebody that's from the lineage of Israel. Oh, nah, that's not talking about that. That's talking about how I used to be a Gentile, and now, because I'm from the lineage of Abraham, even though I'm a Hamite, that means that now I'm part of this seed of Abraham. No, you're making things difficult that do not need to be made difficult, and trying to simplify things that are not simple. You're doing it in reverse, all you Christians out there. And then here's the thing. If you want to do it in reverse, okay, go ahead. But when somebody asks you what Babylon the Great is, then you better have an answer. Don't just keep questioning somebody else and what they think. What do you think? Okay, you think Babylon the Great is not America. Where is it then? Where is it? Because there's going to come a time where people are going to start asking you some questions. And are you going to have the answers? And it's not even so much necessarily about always having answers for other people. Do you know what you believe and what you're expecting to happen on the earth for your own salvation that you should be seeking out with fear and trembling for your own self? Do you know the trajectory of what you're expecting to take place on the earth? Do you know, have you got some kind of at least basic outline of certain key points that you expect to take place on the earth, that if they take place, it's going to boost your faith? Or are you just going with the flow and you don't really know what's going to happen? You're just going to fake that you know what's going on until the last minute and hope that you can blag your way that you knew what was happening? Is that what you're going to try and do? Verse 18, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? What city is like America? Would America getting destroyed not be the biggest statement of Yahweh's anger with the world? Would that not be the elections coming up right now, right? Who's not paying attention to that? Who's not on the earth wondering what's going to happen with the American election? All the countries of the earth are viewing what's going to happen in their country based on what happens in America. They didn't really do that when the leader, the so-called leader, changed in the UK. They didn't really care that much. But the leader of the UK, he's worrying about who's going to win in America. The leaders of the people in India, they're worried about what's going to happen in America. I wonder who it's going to be. The people in Russia, they're wondering. The people in Ukraine, they're wondering. The people in China, they're wondering. Because what city is like, what country, right? What place is like America? What place? They ain't one. Right? Verse 19, and they cast dust on their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of their costliness, by reason of how much they like to ball. They like to ball out. For in 1 hour, she's made desolate, and that's all it's going to take. And that's what's going to cause for these people to be like, what the hell? Because all the nations of the earth, that trusted in Esau, they really thought, man, that's the show of our own strength, because we're affiliates with America. So America standing is part of the show of how powerful we are as well, because we've put our little portion in to America as well, and they kind of get live vicariously a little bit through how America's got power, because they've gave some of their strength onto America. So they feel like they're strong with America, but they understand that it's ultimately America's strength, right? But when that place gets destroyed, they're gonna be like, man, all that power that we trusted in was destroyed in 1 hour. And then they're gonna see Yahushua. Verse 20, rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God have avenged you on her. And I remember, I've got this memory that I always remember, man, when I first saw the whole towers thing that dropped down in America, man. And I remember being a little kid, seeing that on the TV, and I always remember that I jumped up out of the seat, man, and started shouting at the TV, good, that's what you get for putting my people in slavery, man. I remember that. I remember saying that as a little child, man. Right, that was decades ago, 2+ decades ago now. But I remember that memory, man. And why would a little kid that doesn't know, I didn't know I was an Israelite or nothing like that them times. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing about the scriptures. I didn't know nothing about nothing really. You're just a little youth, man. You don't know nothing. But at the same time as I was saying that, right, and other people would have been, other people that were Israelites as well, that knew that they were Israelites, they had memory, they was going through things, man. They was being called all kind of things in that time. So that's how it's a show that it's a spiritual thing, that Israelites in general of a certain mindset are against that place, man. And I'm not saying that I'm no member of the elect or nothing like that. I hope I am. But I have that memory where I was happy. I remember being happy when I saw that happen. And some people might say, oh, this guy is evil, right? But people laugh at our ancestors in the Atlantic slave trade. They laugh at that. People laughed at other people of other people's nations that did things to them that they perceive are evil from falling. So why can't we laugh, right? Why can't we? It's not like America's a righteous place. If you're a person that you say that you're a Christian, then you should understand that America would have to fall anyway, because America would surely be one of the kingdoms that the Messiah is going to destroy, according to Daniel's the 2nd chapter and the 44th verse. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for God have avenged you on her. Right? That place is going to be destroyed, man. Now let me read this. Daniel chapter 2 and verse 44. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So if you're calling yourself a Christian and you think I'm a person of the Bible, you should want that kingdom. You shouldn't be on no God bless America. You should be wanting this. You should want the kingdom that's never going to be destroyed. You should be seeking to be a part of that kingdom. You shouldn't be trying to blag it like America's that kingdom, because it's not. You shouldn't be on no God bless America. You should be wanting God to bless this kingdom that is mentioned in Daniel's 2nd chapter and 44, which is the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of the tabernacle of the house of David, which begins with the ultimate person to come through the line of David, which is Yahushua the Messiah, who was also before the house of David, right? Which is why King David called him Lord. Yahushua never called King David Lord. And let me end the lesson with this point. If America, what would prove America is not Babylon the Great, which is what this lesson's about, would be that all the things that it mentions in regards to the salvation of the Israelites and all these things, the new covenant being established, right? That would take place, and America would not be the catalyst that causes that to happen, and people would not be mourning America getting destroyed, right? That would be proof that America is not Babylon the Great, that America does not get completely destroyed, right? Because America is definitely, even if you are a person that understands prophecy in any kind of way, and you can't say that you don't think that America is not going to get touched at all. It's too much of a big player on the earth for it to not have anything happen to it. It's too much. You would have to say that at least something's going to happen to it. But what the true believers of the scriptures are saying is that the whole place is going to be completely destroyed. The whole place, not some of it, not just 20, no, everything. And it's going to become a place that only certain kind of creatures can live there. Animals that Yahweh's designed to be able to handle a gruesome terrain that's not fit for human beings to live on. Desert kind of Mad Max kind of lands, man. Which it would have to be worse than Mad Max, because the terrain and the Mad Max movies can handle humans being there. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 29, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. So the tribulation of those days, which is going to be America getting destroyed, is a part of that, right? Is going to cause for Yahweh Shai to return. That's what we believe now. All you people that don't believe that, okay, fair enough. What do you think then? Don't be a coward. What you think this way is wrong. So what do you say? And then that would give the believers, the potential believers, two options to have trust in, right? They could believe the thing that we're saying, or they could believe the thing that you're saying, right? Or there's another option, they can believe whatever they want to try and say is going to happen. And then we wait and see which one of those happens. Is it going to be America's Babylon the Great? Or is it going to be whatever you think Babylon the Great is? Or is it going to be whatever somebody else thinks Babylon the Great is? Or somebody thinks Babylon the Great is their local corner shop, and that's going to be mourned by the neighborhood when it gets destroyed because people are not able to make riches there no more. Let's say somebody thinks that. Okay, let's see if that happens. Somebody else thinks that America's Babylon the Great, and that place getting destroyed is going to be the catalyst to cause for the Messiah to return, and that people are going to mourn that they don't make riches, aren't getting as rich no more because that place is destroyed. And then let's say somebody else thinks that it's France or something like that. Okay, we're going to see then. That's all you have to do. You don't need to get on a hype. Say what you think, and time's going to show who's telling the truth. Isn't that what used to happen when Jeremiah would say prophecies? He would say, oh, this is going to happen if you don't do this. And there'd be another false prophet that would say, nah, what Jeremiah's saying ain't going to happen. And then Howard put the spirit on Jeremiah to burn out that prophet and tell him, listen, man, you're lying. And then that prophet, and then there was a certain story where Jeremiah said to that prophet, you know what? You're going to actually die because you're lying. And then that prophet died, that false prophet. He died. So all you people that think we're lying, okay, time's going to show. But you have to say what you think too, so that you can prove you're right then. You've got a problem with what Israelites say all the time, so you put your point out there and prove what you're saying. Don't be like, oh, I think it could be this one, and then it could be. Don't try and give 5 multiple choice options. Nah, give one option and stand on it. Give one. Don't try and give 5+ things so that you can be like, oh, since that one, I said that one, and that never happened, but I also said this one too, and then I also said this one. So, it's going to be one of the 5 things that I've mentioned. But remember, chat, it's not what the Israelites, them naughty Israelites said. It's not what theirs. Nah, don't be like that, man. Show some courage in what you believe. Since you got a problem with what we're saying, show some courage in what you think. How about that? Verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, from one end of heaven to the other, which is got the main place that the Yahweh Shai and the angels are going to be going, is going to be to go to America. And that leads me to this prophecy now that I'm thinking about it, in fact. Because the main place is going to be, it says the North Country, which we believe is North America, but then it goes into everywhere else that they've been scattered. Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 7, therefore behold the days come, saith Yahweh, that they shall no more say Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel, the seed of the house of Israel, the seed of the house of Israel, out of the North Country, which we believe is talking about North America. Now again, a Christian or some scoffer or some next Bible believer is going to say, oh, I don't think it's talking about America. It's not talking about America. Okay, where do you think it's talking about then? And you're saying this has happened already. Okay, so where's the place that Israelites got saved out of? That salvation is greater than what happened in ancient Egypt. Where's that place? that the Israelites are now celebrating that, and that's now the greatest salvation that they received instead of Egypt. And there's a celebration and a day of celebration or a week, whatever it's going to be, that's greater than what happened in Egypt. How do you celebrate okay, there's a celebration out there that's greater than ancient Egypt. We know that the ancient Egypt celebration and the memory of that is called the Passover. What's the celebration of this new time that's greater than what happened in the north, that happened in the north country and from all the other places that the Israelites are scattered? What's that day called? The one for Egypt, right? The day that they remember where Yahweh saved them from Egypt, that's called Passover or Pasach, right? What is the one from the north country and all the other countries called? What is that? How do you celebrate it? Is it similar to does it require a fast? Does it require, you know what I mean? Does it require a fast? Do you have to have fringes on? What do you is it a thing where you dance? Is it mourning? Is it sorrowful? Does it require handing out gifts? How do you celebrate it? Since you want to say that, we can explain what it is when it comes to the Passover, right? You have to have the lamb of a certain age, of a certain gender, unblemished, right? You keep you have the bitter herbs, right? The wine. You have to cook the whole thing. None of its bones can be broken. We can find it in the scriptures, Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. We can break it down and read what it says about it. But what is the one for that people want to say it's happened already? How do you celebrate that one then? Where do we find out how to celebrate it? How do you find out how they remember it? How do the Israelites remember it? Or how whoever you thinks it happened and received the salvation from this time, how do they celebrate it? Is it a thing that requires a fast like the Day of Atonement? Is it a thing that requires is it every 50 days? Like, how is it? Because according to the scriptures, it's pretty much explains it like it's going to be annual. Verse 8, but Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all countries where I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. How, like, some people want to say this has happened already. Okay, how is it celebrated? How is it remembered? How? Since you think it's happened already. Now, Israelites, we say this has not happened already. And we say that it's going to be a salvation where the Israelites get gathered from the north country, which is America, and from every single other place that the Israelites were scattered, which clearly would be a greater salvation than what happened in ancient Egypt, because the salvation of Egypt was only salvation from one place. Now, let's just say that the salvation that's going to be from the north country, from everywhere else where the Israelites was gathered, was identical to what happened in Egypt in terms of the method, but the savior that was going to be used was going to split the sea in everywhere on the earth that the Israelites were and cause them to all walk to the same point. That would surely be greater, right? It would be greater than what happened in Egypt. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm just saying that a salvation where people get gathered from one place is not greater than a salvation where people get gathered from several places. And some people want to say that this has happened already. So how do you celebrate it then? What's the day called? Right? We know about the Day of Atonement. We know about you have the people that say Sukkot, Sukkot, right? You have the Feast of Tabernacles. You have the Passover, right? You have Purim, you have Hanukkah, or a Feast of Dedication. Okay, you have them days. What's this day called that represents Jeremiah 23:8? What's that called? For all you people that want to say it's happened already, what's the day called? And can we find people annually or whatever duration you're supposed to remember it, and where can we find them celebrating it? Or do they still say that the salvation of Egypt's the greatest salvation? Because among us Hebrew Israelites, we still agree that the greatest salvation to ever happen to the Israelites was Egypt. And that's why the Passover is a very heavy day, right? That Israelites rehearse the righteous acts of it, right? But we do not have a salvation that we believe was greater than that yet, where we've been gathered from every single place that we were, and we're back in our own land. Shouldn't we be back in our own land then? If this has happened already, shouldn't the Israelites be back in their own land in peace? And that's why we say the things we say. And people have got a problem with it. And you know what? Them having a problem with it is actually, it's a problem only because it's the truth. But let's say we were lying. They have not gave an alternative to show that truth that they believe. They're just complaining about what we think, but they have not gave an alternative, and that is pathetic. It's pathetic that they have not gave an alternative. And this was just a lesson on America. like on how America is Babylon the Great, but what would prove that it's not though? And I don't know how I'm gonna name this video. It doesn't really matter. The words that said would matter more, but people have got a problem with America being Babylon the Great, right? Which it is. But what would prove that it's not then? And I gave examples, hopefully, with the scriptures and talking points that I said that would prove that America is not Babylon the Great, man. And for all you people out, I mean, that would prove that America is not Babylon the Great. That would, I gave points on what would prove that America is not Babylon the Great. But for all you people out there that have got a problem with America being Babylon the Great, which it is, right? Well, you have to then say, or you should be saying, what you think it is then. Don't just be trying to tell everybody else that they're wrong. You still have to give what you think, because you're saying that you're ordained and that you think that you've got the Spirit on you, right? So what are you saying then? That's what you have to start. All you Christians out there should be starting to do. What do you think? Right? You think we're wrong, or you think we're lost, or we're lying about who the Israelites are. We're lying about this. We're lying about this prophecy. It's already been fulfilled. Okay, when? Prove it. Have you even questioned the person that told you that it's been fulfilled already? Did you question them, or did they just tell you it's been fulfilled? It made you feel comfortable and you just ran with it. You have to be real with yourself. You know what I mean? Don't be fake. You people are gonna have to start being real with yourself. You don't know as much as you think you know. And you're bothered that we know, because you just think that we're some N-words, but you think you're not an N-word. So then what do you think? You think you're so high IQ and highly educated. So what do you think then? We're so stupid and we don't know what we're talking about. So okay, put your opinion out there then. Put what you think, every single prophecy that we're saying wrong about. You put what you think out there, and don't do multiple choice. Don't be a coward and be like, oh, it could mean one of these 5 things. Look out for these 5 things, and then even try and be sneaky and be like, and it potentially could mean a little bit of what they say, but not completely. No, don't do that. Say what you think, make it clear upon tape. Doesn't it say, write it down and make it clear upon tables in the scriptures? Write what you think down, pull it out there with your mouth, and make it clear upon tables what you think. And then we'll wait and see who's telling the truth, won't we? And the liars are going to be proven to be false, and the truth tellers are going to be proven to be telling the truth. And on that, I'm going to say all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. Shalom.